Okay, so you should have received an email that has a summary of all this, but I thought it would be a good idea just to verbally explain it. There's an extended breakfast on Wednesday from 8:10 to 8:20 for the students. So then all the students will be reporting to room 213 and 820. Now, I've given a little bit of a buffer because we have lists of students, which was in the Excel attachment, and each teacher, there'll be a math teacher and an ESOL teacher in every room, has been given a roster of students. Now, we might have to adjust this a little bit depending on how many of these students actually show up on Wednesday. So this is kind of our initial list, and then once all the students show up to room 213, then we can reorganize them and send them where they need to go. So I've given about 20 minutes for the shuffling around and moving of the students. I would like you all to report to room 213 at 8 o'clock, because then we can work out any kinks and address any questions at that point. Okay, then there will be rotating sessions. The sessions are in different rooms because we don't have enough labs for every group to have a lab. So the core activities are the same, it's just in a different order for each group, and that's why I kind of created this matrix of activities. So I'm just going to go through the first example here. The first activity is an attendance and behavior video. Miss Moore will be showing a video, and then her and Jeremiah Ross will be talking to the kids about the importance of attendance and behavior. Okay, in each room you will receive a list of the activities, and if any of those activities require papers or material, all that stuff will be in the room for you. You do not need to bring, copy, or do anything. All I need your smiling face, and excitement to work with these students on the enrichment activities. So the next one is another 30-minute activity, which is math academic vocabulary. Notice that for this particular group, they're in 213, and they continue to be in room 213. So these numbers symbolize the room that they should be in. So that we're going to be doing a Frere model, and I did put in each of the activities an explanation in writing. So a Frere model is a way to describe words. So what we're going to have them do is do a couple examples of something that they know. So I chose fall as my first one. So they're going to write their characteristics and definition in English. So fall, I meant the season of fall, so I know that can have different meanings. And then they're going to choose the language of their choice to define and write characteristics of this vocabulary word. If they don't want to do a different language, then it's quite acceptable that they just continue to list characteristics in English as well. Okay, and then they're going to give some examples of what represents fall, and then some non-examples. These non-examples are very important. Okay, a lot of times we focus on just similarities, but focusing on the differences actually helps the students remember. After we do a couple examples, I have another one that's an example of soccer. After we do a couple examples of ones that they're familiar with, we have some math examples. So there are several of these pieces of paper, and we have Algebra 1 textbooks in each of the rooms so that the students can look up definitions if they need to. And also there in the Algebra 1 textbook, there is a Spanish-English dictionary in the back. So they can actually read, if they're Spanish speakers, they can read the definition in English, and then they also have the definition in Spanish. It's also, they can put pictures on here if they want. That's important. Sometimes it's hard to describe, so a picture is perfectly acceptable as well. And I'll do an example one to provide to you in your packets. Okay. All right, if we look here, the next activity is the marshmallow or tower design. Notice that this is actually two sessions. One is for you to explain, answer any questions, and then the next part is for them to actually build the marshmallow tower activity. Now, these can actually, kind of coincide together. I just listed them twice, but really it's just 1 full hour to do this activity. So basically the students you'll have a packet of stuff that looks similar to this. In that packet, there's going to be each group. I would do a group of 4 to 5, 5 being the absolute most. They're going to get 30 spaghetti sticks, a piece of string, which is not in there yet, marshmallows, masking tape, and scissors. The teacher in the room will have a measuring tape because they will need to measure how tall the tower is. And then it goes into an explanation of what they'll need to do. So they'll be using the spaghetti sticks to build a tower, and they can I put several marshmallows in here because my fear was the students would eat the marshmallows. But basically the goal is to build a tower, and that marshmallow, one marshmallow needs to be at the top of the tower and has to rest at the top of the tower for at least 10 seconds. And at the end, once you measure them, then we'll have some prizes for the team that actually wins, okay? So more explanation is here written out, but basically they're going to get their bags, they're going to put together, try to build a tower. The marshmallow has to be on top, just one marshmallow, and then you will go around and measure each of them. They only have 20 minutes, so make sure you're timing them for that 20 minutes, and then have them stop and go around and measure. We need to make sure we try to stick in our time limit, so make sure you only give them 20 minutes for the actual build, but take some time to actually explain what they're going to be doing. Once they start building though, don't assist them. Please allow them to work through this process on their own. Okay. All right, so then the next activity, so that one's an hour. The next activity is exploring Blackboard, accessing email. So that, for this particular group, they had to move into a computer lab for this. So I did allow for a 10-minute break here because we will need to do some switching of rooms and a couple different occasions because obviously we need the computers for that. So what they're going to do is they're going to log onto the computers. You do have the ability to reset passwords. I know the kids sometimes struggle with their passwords, so we do have that ability. Log into Blackboard. Just want them to answer some questions. What classes do you see available? Let them click, go through those classes, anything that's available. And then if they have an email address, if they don't, you should help them set up an email address, but also they should try to access their FCPS email because that's where their progress reports will be going. Okay, and then the next part, and again, these can kind of overlap as well if they need to, are computer games. So I have a website here where they can access some math games. And basically, I want them to choose 3 different math games and then answer questions about these math games. If the student does not feel comfortable writing in English, it's fine that they can write their answers in Spanish. That's quite okay. Or whatever language that they speak. Try to get them to write in English, but if they need that assistance, please allow them to do that. Okay, and then at the end, wrapping up any activities. I've buffered in about 20 minutes. I'd like you to have just an open discussion about how the students felt about the activities, which ones they liked, which ones they didn't like, just so we can have feedback for future things that we could do with them. The kids will be released to lunch. It's a grab-and-go lunch at 12:20. They have that much time to get their lunch, and then the buses leave at 12:55 because it is an early release. So just a couple important things. Please make sure you watch your time. These are scheduled on purpose so we can get through everything. Please try to keep students on task. Students shouldn't be on their cell phones. There's plenty of stuff for them to do. And then please, if a student is being disruptive, let someone know, whether it's me or Miss Moore, so we can pull that student, because this is really to be a positive activity and we don't want one student ruining it for everyone. And then lastly, every room will have a little bag with some candy in it for incentive for them. So feel free to give this out as you see students working, or you want to reward them. There is a tub of candy for each room. Please again arrive at 8 a.m. in room 213 on Wednesday so that I can answer any questions that you have and fill you in if there's anything that had to change at the last minute. Thank you.